Hello and welcome to another mod review. This time we have the Ores Drop Mores 2 mod by Rinsel. In this mod you can change the min and max yields for each ore and the experience for each ore as well. It works for coal, diamond, emerald, glowstone, gold, iron, lapis, nether quartz, and redstone. So now let me demonstrate a bit on how it works. This gold over here, when you mine now, will drop 3 to 5 gold ores, which are now these little nuggets instead. Iron ores do the same thing, but in the config I changed it so iron ores drop fragments instead by changing the small fragment option from false to true. So now it will drop these little fragments. The fragments, however, don't work like normal ores. If I smelt this in here, it will smelt into an ingot. But the fragments you need to craft into the actual ore block again, but if you put down the ore and mine, you'll just get fragments. So instead, you'll probably want to put it in here and smelt it into the item like you normally could if you silk touched it and mined it. This adds a lot of possibilities because you can make ores like gold here give the nuggets and mine more, but ores like diamonds you can make give fragments even to require 9 fragments instead. You can choose the min and max yields. For this one, for example, Nether Quartz, I changed it so the min and max yields are always 64, so every time I mine it, stack Nether Quartz, and there's the iron ingot. See, here's the fragment looks for all the ores, and if you have the fragment recipe or the drop enabled, the recipe will appear to craft it. If you just use creative to get the fragments but have the recipes off, you won't be able to craft it from what I've seen. And as I mentioned, you can also choose the min and max experience. For Lapis here, I set the min experience to 50 and the max to 100. So now watch happens when I mine it. Get about 5 levels every time. Although it varies, because as I go up, it requires more experience per level. But so yeah, you can make those useless ores give a ton more experience, so you can easily level off them. You can reduce the experience of Nether Quartz if you feel it's too good even. You can make any ore give more or less with the shards, and it's a really cool system. Also, before I should get like 3 to 5 off this gold. Yeah, I got 5 this time. But now if I use a fortune pickaxe, 4... Can't really predict it. That time gave a whole bunch, I think. But yeah, fortune will now work on all these ores, and from what I saw, it will work on fragments too. Although it seems it... Yeah, see, it's 15 in one mine. Although it seems instead of constantly boosting the ores with fortune, it will occasionally boost it instead. Another thing about this mod is that it decreases the mining level needed to mine ore. Normally I need a iron pickaxe like this to mine diamonds. But with this mod, you can turn on a different option at the bottom, reduce the gathering level, so you can use stone for iron, and stone for a diamond, and wood for iron, and all pretty much the pickaxe level needed to mine all these is reduced by 1. If you don't like any of these options, you can turn them off in the config file. You can change it so diamonds go back to dropping 1 each by setting the min and max value to 1. Or even change iron to dropping 1 each so they go back to dropping 1 but drop the new special ore, you know, the one like this, but for iron instead of dropping the normal block, so you can use fortune on it instead. Pretty much this opens a lot more possibilities in how you can customize your ore drops and the experience for them. And the config is fairly straightforward, so even if you haven't dealt a lot with configuring mods, it shouldn't be very hard. The mod is updated to 1.6.4, and I think it's just an overall awesome mod. And if you're running other mods especially, like mods that add in new ores that might make these vanilla ores more or less useful, you can now configure them so the game will work with them. Because there's some mods that heavily rely on iron, so now you can make iron a bit easier to get. Or mods that rely on coal, or maybe mods that make diamonds so useful that you want to make them rarer. Anyway, there's just a lot of options, and I highly suggest you go check out the mod in the description so you can play around with it for yourself. And if you want to see another mod made by Rinsel, I reviewed his Nether Stuffs mod a couple weeks back, so I have a link for that now on the screen if you want to go check it out. Well, until next time, goodbye.